Good morning. Good morning. Java Delight will uplift you. Stay tuned. The show is about to begin. Grab your coffee. Stay tuned. This show is about to begin.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brandon Croucher, CEO of Delight Cafe. I am honored to be starting this amazing, thankful week with the one and the only Delight Cafe crew. You guys are here. You guys are amazing. You guys are special in every way, and I'm honored to start my week with you. Truth be told, I moved all weekend, and that was for my mental health. And let's just say this. I think it was the greatest thing. I'm exhausted. Like, when I say moved, I had no help. I did all of it by myself. Imagine moving a bed and a couch by yourself. Yeah, out of my car.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's nothing to be sorry about. I'm beaten to a pulp and tired. But the thing is, I'm not. I laid down. I have the dog that I'm alive because of with me.
Tell me the story.
So, have you ever heard me mention the pink prison?
The pink prison.
Pink prison, like pink the
Pink
color?
prison. Oh, yes.
So, the pink prison is because I went to jail and got out of jail, and I spent 3 years fighting to have my name cleared, to have my felony removed that my ex-wife put on me for lies. The thing is, during that time, I was on 15 pills a day, and I just wanted to die. I hated everything about me. I'm not going to see my son anymore. All these things. All the stuff you don't want, right? And Bob would love a pink prison. Bob would love a pink prison. But, like, my thing was this dog that my sister brought to my parents' house saying, oh, well, I can't take care of him anymore. Mom, Dad, I need you to, or he's going to go to the pound. They took care of him, and he's a pit. And I remember when they got him, they hated it. They were so scared he was going to hurt the neighbors' dogs. He was going to hurt other people, kids. But the thing is, I brought him. He kept me alive because that dog never left my side. That dog never moved away. And to this day, him and I have this unique bond. And he's getting old. Like, I have to pick him up to help him in the bed now and all this stuff. But he literally is... He came here to my house, and he looked around, and he looked like he was scared out of his mind. Like, why am I in a new place? Why am I this? And by the end of it, when I had everything kind of set up, and he could walk around and smell, and he had a blanket that he knew, it was like a magical moment. It was like him and I's own house, and it was just special. So I woke up this morning. I hit snooze on my alarm a lot. I never hit snooze on my alarm. Oh, I never hit snooze on my alarm, and I kept hitting snooze, 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 snooze. Then I look at the clock, and I didn't even realize I turned the alarm off, and it was 15 minutes till the show goes on. And I'm like, I'm backstage, Ilse. And she's like, oh, I'll see you in a second. And I'm like, oh, my God. I felt bad that I was not there earlier for us to plan.
Not at all.
My mental health needed sleep, and so for this Mental Health Monday, I was out. I was out cold, but I'm in my new place. I'm beyond ecstatic. And the friends that – so, Mama Gotti, I see your comment there. So let me answer this to the nicest way I can. Is my parents opened my bed because I had one of those roll-up beds that when you open it, it like it goes right on. But then you're never allowed to bend it again or move it again or anything like that. They opened it, and then we're like, oh, we're going to rent you a truck. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. I literally came home and my dad had my mom's car packed and jammed the bed in there and folded it and everything. And I'm like, and so it's just one of those things. And it happens. I got out. I'm in a spot where I'm able to take care of myself and make sure I put myself in a better position. You do not see anything behind me right now because I'm going to be building everything on that today. I've put together a whole entertainment room. So Ilse, we need to get you here because I have 2 chairs in there that have massagers in the back. And then instead of putting a TV up, you're going to love this. So instead of putting a TV up, I put my big speakers that I use for like entertainments and shows that I have to keep in my place anyways, and the projector, right? So the projector goes on the wall, it shuts behind the door, and it's a total black room, okay? Like dark as hell, right?
Oh, wow.
Oh, no, it gets better. I took the big-ass speakers, put them under the recliners that have massagers that I've been waiting to use for years. They've been in storage for years. So last night, I put in there, and I turned on – I couldn't have anything else on. I just opened up The Simpsons, and I turned The Simpsons on. And I'm watching this Simpsons episode, and it was an old one. It was like from like a long time ago. And I'm sitting there, and the base of the show is underneath me. And you can feel they're talking and you can feel their everything. And I was like, this is so cool. Put my legs up. The back was reclining. The dog jumped on the recliner with me. And it was just like heaven. I painted the wall behind me, chalkboard paint. And it is completely now ready to be able to be used by us to like business plan and everything. It was so great. Like, I'm very happy to be here. This is going to be exciting. I went to the backyard where we're going to be building your tiny home, quote unquote tiny home, and it's going to be your house with a bathroom, a kitchen, everything. But Staines and I were walking back there, the dog and I, last night, and I'll tell you what, absolutely amazing. You'll be right. You're far enough away you won't see me. You'll see me, but you won't hear me. You'll be able to have your own peace and quiet. But then in between everything is a whole bunch of like picnic-like area. So we'll be able to like go there and just completely just let go and have our fire pit and just enjoy each other's company. We have rooms for planning. We have rooms for warmth. And guys, it's just blown away. A lot of work's going into this, but I'm extremely happy. I have good news for Ilse. I have good news for Fernando that we're going to talk about after the show. But yeah, it was a good weekend. So my weekend was a lot of work. Kathy, I plan to tomorrow morning. What you guys cannot see is my camera now turns. And right behind me, right behind my camera here, if I turn it around, is my yoga meditation area for us to be able to do workouts and all this other stuff. And so I'm so excited. You are opening a small community. We are all moving to Brando. Yes. And when you guys see I'm out, like, here's the thing that you guys are going to like best is you have good news too, Brian. You have good news. It's just not the same. It's not the same. Yours is coming in other forms, literally and figuratively.
Ooh,
but there's so many, right? But there's so much going on around here. And then the land that is here, I came up with a strategy. So your houses that we're going to be building are going to have 2 levels, okay? Your tiny homes. So that way you have an upstairs. It's like a bedroom / like just it's smaller. But the back of the house is going to look like a fence blocking you from the street and all that. So your back of your house is like its own private entrance, but you're going to be able to it's hard to explain. But like this whole community here is, let's say you go on a walk and Ilse just needs to get away. Okay. She needs to just go. There's a lake right over here. There's a farm system not even a mile away over there. You will literally be able to go on a walk and separate yourself from the entire world without any problems. I've connected up the Wi-Fi and built up the Wi-Fi system like I wanted to back at my parents' house. You will have Wi-Fi on your own, so you won't even need to worry about getting Wi-Fi. Like it's gonna be a part of everything here. Like Ilse, there's a lot happening, and it's just all good. I'm ecstatic
I can
that
just
I have.
imagine how excited you are. I'm just excited, as excited. How was your mental health through the move, though? Let's
Just put it like this. I was so excited at first, dead serious, so excited, and then like little things like my car, like my bed, that got irritating. It's because it felt very passive aggressive, and I had to let it go, and I didn't. And the universe told me, well, now you're going to pay for not just accepting the good, and the universe did. I got pulled over on the way home. You want to know what I got a ticket? Fuck! You know why I got a ticket? This is what pissed me off. You ready for this? I got a ticket because the cop had somebody pulled over, and I slowly, like as I'm pulling up, I slowly move over into the other lane, and I'm going by them. All right. Well, the person he had pulled over, instead of merging back into traffic, there's a car coming the other way. Instead of merging back into traffic, they take off to get after they're done with the police. So now I'm neck and neck with this car that was just pulled over. Like it looks like I'm drag racing them. And I'm like, if I brake and they brake, I'm going to get hit by this car. But if I hit the gas, they're going to have to slow down because they're supposed to have merged, and the cop's going to pull them over and give them another ticket. No, the cop decided to pull us both over and give us both a ticket. No joke.
That is stupid.
I got a ticket for drag racing somebody who didn't merge onto a highway. I just wanted my thing is, and guys, just so you know, we can have 6 tiny homes on this property. I've already spoke with city council.
Wow.
So Brian, that we could call it Brando Land. Delightland. Delightland.
Yes. Our own little world.
Our own little world where we have like rooms for houses and all these different little things. What we'll do
we can have dessert for breakfast.
Delightful breakfast. I have some trees in the back. We'll put a zip line. The only way you can get to breakfast is we'll have a tree fort up in the trees. You slide down, and that's how you get to breakfast. Can that tell me that doesn't sound awesome?
Yes, please.
Kevin has some good news. Mandy says, or we all go to Brandon's and tent it until we build our mini town and yard. I love it. Yes. Is there a fire pit? There's a huge one. Like literally I'm rebuilding part of it over the next like 6 months. And we're going to have a brick patio with a fire pit right in the middle of it. That's right in the middle of everything. So 2 tiny homes. 1 tiny home, 2 tiny homes. In the middle is grassy area. So everybody has their own spot, right? But when you drive by, it looks like a fenced-in area, and it's our own private thing. So it's literally our own land.
So excited. I'm so excited.
I promise you this. Oh, my God, Elsa. So, like, my favorite part is this wall behind me is the theater, okay? And I can roll this. Do you want me to roll it and show you guys it?
Yes.
All right. Give me a second. So, and yes, it's a community fire pit. Kevin said he had good news, and my Facebook isn't opening in the background, so I apologize. But yeah. By the way, I know Saturday you weren't able to make it to the movie.
No,
so,
how was it?
First off, I need to thank you, Pieterse. All right, you are my panty dropper. You dropped mine all weekend. Like, thank you, Pieterse. So what happened is I've never been able to make it through the movie Avatar, ever. I fall asleep. I don't know why. Like, so many little things, okay? But the thing about it is I've never just completely let go and focused, and I had to move. So I put it on in the background, and I put the projector on in the dark room, and I let it play while I was bringing things in the speakers and all that, right? And I wake up late on Saturdays. That's okay. Maybe we need to do a night movie, because the truth is, I went to Discord, Mama Gotti, Brian, Pantsu, and myself. That's it. That's it. Okay? But we watched this movie, and you know when something happens in a movie and you're at a theater and you're with your friends and they lean in and they make a comment and you all laugh? It felt like that. And it was so much fun. Like, I literally, like, I look forward to our next movie time.
Me too, because I'm definitely going to be at that one.
Pantsu's going to be there. We're going to be marketing it. What I loved best is we all respected one another, and the fact that, like, we'd make comments, but, like, I'd unmute to make a joke here and there. I'd unmute to do things like that. Guys, I want to make the movie time one where everybody can join. So whether that's in the afternoon, whether it's in the morning, I think the weekend is a great way of doing it. Or we do it during the week and we have it be one of our night things. Like at 6 o'clock, my time is 1 a.m. Ilse's time. That's not good. That won't work.
Well, I'm usually awake by that time. If I plan it, then I just set my alarm. I get a little bit of sleep in the week. Over the weekends, I wake up until Monday afternoons about 4 o'clock. So I've got until then to sleep. So I'm good with anything at 1 o'clock.
Honestly, this is we can't do too much later. That's late for Pantsu. That's true. Stuart Lone Wolf. Hey, Pantsu, do me a favor. Connect with Stuart Lone Wolf and help him with the Discord, because you helped me get mine. And I learned that doing it off of my PC is going to be better in the long run, because I kept getting booted when I was on my phone. Literally kept getting booted. Any single text message, it would pause the movie on me. And I was playing, like, I'd hit play and then it would catch back up. So, like, it was fun. Honestly, I have no problem with keeping it a Saturday morning thing. Because, like, instead of going to church, instead of going to anything else, it's our, like, delightful community thing. And if you're at work, it's a movie playing in the background. I agree with Mama Gotti. I loved it because I thought the voices were going to get annoying. I really did, but they never did. And if somebody's like family came in, like kids and all this other stuff, they 100% like muted themselves, and everybody was respectful to one another. But the funniest time is there was times like Brian or Pantsu or myself would say something, and the character in the movie would say something, and I had to stop myself and be like, wait a minute. Is that from the movie? What does this go with in the movie? I was so confused, but yeah.
What do you think of the movie, though, now that you've watched it?
Honestly, much better than I anticipated. Yes, Discord link, boom, right here, Fernando. You click that, guys. You can sign up from your PC, your phone, your laptop, your tablet, your whatever. And then join the Delight community. We'll share a link for that as well, because truth be told, guys, it's being late for me is not a problem at all. I tend to be awake during the night anyway. Well, all right. We could also, if people were interested in that, do an additional media club where we meet once a week or so just to talk about the show. I love that. And then we vote on it. We pick on it. Yeah. This is where I agree with Mama Gotti 100%. Avatar is great, but a very long movie. Yeah. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Like, honestly, like, have you guys, all right, so let's say we did a club thing for TV shows, okay? One of the shows I'd want would be like, you're going to laugh at me, but like Boy Meets World. Classic show that a lot of people don't understand, that haven't seen. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with Will Smith, whole bunch, right? That is where I'd want to like fun things like that. Because like we don't have to watch every episode, but we could pick some. Like, so there's a lot that goes into that. Where did Brian go? I saw Brian with a Y and Brian with an I. I want them both to know hello. I love them, and we're going to get you both to be here very soon. No black lights allowed. It's all black lights. It's all black lights. Black lights.
Bachelor pad. Ooh, sounds like a dating show. Brandon's Bachelor Pad.
That just sounds wrong. So what did you get into?
I get
And
it.
I will show you the movie room, but I want to finish setting up the house, and then I was going to make a TikTok of like, do you remember the TV show in the day, MTV Cribs?
Yes.
I was going to do that. I even organized all of my clothes in rainbow fashion. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, like I purple. I have it all white to black. I mean, it looks so funny and I'm so excited, but like Stains is asleep on my foot. So if I move everything, he's going to start bouncing like under here, and I don't want to knock my coffee out and all that, but I will show you the entertainment center when he moves because he's old. So he will move. And yeah, could even do a live stream segment of Victor Tango and the H in Discord. Thank you.
Wow.
I love that. Did not know we could do that. I think that'd be great. And Avatar was 3 hours long. Let's be honest. 3 hours is a long time to commit to a movie. But I couldn't stop watching either, Mama Gotti. I was there till the end and just had so much fun. This week, we're going to have to start picking our movie because, let's be honest, it's Thanksgiving on Thursday here in the U.S. Do you do anything for Thanksgiving, or is this just a U.S. holiday? I'm just curious. I don't know.
It's actually just a US holiday. The only thing we adopted from you was Black Friday. I don't know why, because people have got a lot of shit in any case. They don't need to buy anymore. But that's the only thing that we adopted was, I don't know. That was the only that we adopted was the 30th, the Black Friday. But me and my kids, we do it. So my daughter is coming over, and then TJ will be here as well. And then everybody in the house, I said, we'll cook. And then we'll just sit downstairs and have some time and spend some time together and everything.
I love it. I love it.
And you?
Absolutely.
Are you planning something in your new house?
No, honestly, I don't know what's going to happen. My mom and dad, so remember earlier this year, my cousin who passed away of COVID, her mom and dad are usually the ones that, hey, I got a puppy. Her mom and dad are usually the ones that will do Thanksgiving dinner. And they're absolutely not wanting to do anything with Thanksgiving this year. And I don't blame them. It's tough. It's hard on them. They want to be able to be with family. But they also, on the other side of that, I'm going to say this very nicely, they also, on the other side, do not want to do anybody who hasn't been vaccinated because their daughter passed away of COVID. And my family, and I say that as a whole, do not want anything to do with the vaccination, not for any other reason than they just don't like it. And the truth is, I have no part in sharing any views on either side. I have my own personal opinions and views, but the thing is, because my mom and dad refused to get vaccinated, my aunt and uncle are like, then we're not doing Thanksgiving. So my mom and dad are talking about doing Thanksgiving at their house, and meaning it would just be me, my mom, my dad, my one sister who lives in Michigan and her boyfriend. And from there, it's just going to be whatever. What I'm thinking is, and you could tell me this is ridiculous, but I was thinking we'd do the show. And maybe after that, we could do something on Discord and like go have like a party or something on Discord for like an hour or two. We watch a movie together. Cause like, that's the thing is they have like the parade, and that's a tradition in America is you watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. Or we could open up the karaoke and have it be like you send a request in and then we pull your song up and you're karaokeing and you have the live stream. I don't know. Things we're going to work on that we're going to figure out together. And I mean, we're all in this for a little bit. Thursday, we're going to be live on air. Thanksgiving game night. I 100% think that sounds awesome. And Mama Gotti, I usually loathe the parade as well. But the thing is, I also know that it's fun to see. I like to see the schools. And what I mean by that is in the parade, they have high schools and colleges across the country filling up, and they play their music and they bring their talents and they do these things. They have the go-go dancers that do the high kicks. Those women, like to watch all these women in perfect synchronies kicking with these heels. It's just, It's an amazing talent to
I
see.
would love to watch that.
And
I've
then
never
boom,
seen it.
Pantsu says he can host a jukebox party of games. There we go. So this is something we can do, and we'll do an hour or two of games in our community. We'll go live on Twitch, Discord, anything we can. It's just not going to be on YouTube or Facebook because they'll kick us off. So like we could actually play music and be like, all right, who sings this song? Boom. Stuff like that. And, you know,
fun. I'm in.
And I think spending Thanksgiving with the community, even if it's only for an hour or two after a show, will put us in a better mindset for excitement with our families and to be grateful for. Now, not Jackbox. Did I say the wrong thing? Jackbox. I'm sorry. They are fun little party games you can play along with for free. I didn't know that. My bad, buddy. I love that. Kevin's talking about doing a giveaway. I know him and I have been talking about getting him on here again and doing a giveaway with him. Just as a child, I always felt tortured. It didn't capture me. I never saw the point. I guess that's just stuck. I could appreciate that. So are you talking games? Jack in the Box is huge fun. Or Jackbox is huge fun. That's awesome. And guys, if you have family things already, please go be with your family. I want you to. But I love games and I love the community we're building. It's so different. And truth be told, I might set myself up in the game room just for that, like in the movie room. And then I'll stream and I'll sit there. So I'm like facing the same way. And you guys can watch it on the Jumbotron and all that. And that way, Mandy Atterbury could come in. She sings for everybody. I might karaoke because I'll be in my element. I might have to turn the shower on and go stand in the bathroom.
I'll karaoke. I just don't know how you guys will feel afterwards.
Have you guys seen
I just don't know about you.
I have not, Fernando. Princess rap battles. I love the rap battles in history, but I don't know this one. Just to let you all know, I have a hospital appointment tomorrow morning. So if I'm not here for the show tomorrow afternoon, you know why. You know what? Mandy Atterbury, good vibes, good energy, good love, good appreciation. Love you, love you, love you. Brian said, when is this? But which thing, buddy? We've talked Thursday. We're talking about doing a Thanksgiving thing after the show, and we talked about Discord and the movie and how wonderful that went and how great it was. And I have some big news for you too, buddy. I didn't include you in there because I honestly saw Fernando's name and not yours yet. So 100% have good news for you too.
Are you allowed to hear on air?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely, it would kill everything I'm working on for all of us. Yeah. You might have to wait till tomorrow, even just because I'm waiting for one email to come through. I might have a surprise for you that's going to make you be even happier with delight. Look at this history rap battles. My son would love that. Thanks for sharing. Fernando says, here's the YouTube link for it. You could play it. Wait, can we play it here and not get in trouble, Fernando? And Brian, no worries about work calling. You're driving your truck, brother. I love you, man. I love your section that we've created in Discord. Brian has his own section called like Sites Brian Sees or Sites with Brian, something like that, where he's taking his photography and putting it out there for us to see. And it's only for our community. And I have to be honest, his eye is getting better and better and better. So guys, join the Discord. There's a lot happening there. Oh, there's no music, so we could play it. I'll play that in a second. Some epic rap battles of history are fun. I have to ride 100 miles this morning. It's 19 degrees now, and it's only going to be in the upper 40s. Well, nothing can be counted. Oh, I'll make you a deal, Mandy. We have to figure out how this karaoke thing works. I will sing one of my songs that I do. I do Santa Baby. Santa Baby, please come down the chimney tonight. I have that one. I get into that one too. That requires a little bit of drinking, and I have a brand new bottle of effing vodka, cucumber vodka, and iced tea. Mix those together with a little bit of lemon. Oh my God, I'm drunk in no time, and I'm a lightweight. So combination.
I'm a lightweight as well.
I am, and I'm not going to smoke during the week anymore. I'm only going to smoke on weekends. And I decided that because I noticed my anxiety got triggered by Wednesday, just by little things. And I'm like, you know what? If I don't smoke and I only take Delight throughout the week, I'm going to be putting myself in better situations to lead and keeping myself sober. So I will be doing that more and more. And we have too many good things coming. Too many good things coming. I look at my team and I say, like, and I say this, I sent this text message to someone last night from our team. And I literally said to them, and now I can't find their name. They're there. They said that they're having problems and da-da-da-da-da. And I said to them, I'm understanding as a boss. I'm patient. I just ask for my team to be honest and always give their best. It's not even giving it for me, but when you give your best for yourselves, I alone cannot make this world a better place. It takes all of us believing in each other. And that's what type of team I'm trying to build, is the type of team that sees that. And it's like the days where I'm working till whatever, 4 a.m. or whatever, like I'd rather have my team know that I could turn around and say, hey, I know you're working on X, Y, and Z. I need you to help me with this or get this done. And they do. And then they see I take care of them. And I love it. But I would be happy to karaoke with you guys this weekend. This is a thankful weekend. So Fernando, yes, I can play that video. Kevin says, I love you all. I love you. Brian says, I'm going to drop Mike of my day. I'm going to drop a pic of my day in Discord. 32 degrees Fahrenheit, 0 Celsius. Try bourbon and iced tea. So, Bob, you will be surprised. You're going to want to come visit me, Bob. I have a recliner for you that has a back massager in a dark room, and I want to watch a movie with you on the Jumbo TV because I have a feeling you will fall asleep in there. And then I'm going to make you one of my sweet teas that I make for people, okay? And not the electric tea with psilocybin and mushrooms in it. That will be made in nether.
Want some of that.
I will make everybody that. We're going to have a Mushroom Monday one day when we're after a show, and we all drink the tea together as a team, and we go on a trip, and we plan the next year, all of us on a trip. And the reason I say that is because every single one of us will be able to work out of another mindset, and it will break barriers. I look forward to it. But yeah, bourbon with the tea. I'll make you one of my fresh brewed teas that I put in a light bulb boba and some bourbon in there. Bob, I promise you're probably going to be drunk a lot faster than you realize. This drink, we've already figured out how to make this drink, no joke, for the NBA All-Star game, and there's a lot that's going to happen. There's potential to make quite a bit of money for this weekend for my team, and I need my team to really, like, when I say we're going to be kicking it into high gear, like, we've been traveling for the last year in first and second gear, and now we're going to be moving. We're going to be hitting highways. We're going to be learning more, and this community is going to grow, and I love the team that we're building. Random question. Is there a team meeting today? Have there been the past few Mondays or Fridays? Because every time I checked, it said nobody was there. The one on Friday went quick. Last Monday was quick. Today we will do a short one to just reconnect with everybody, tell the good news, plan the rest of the week, and then, just go. Oh, portabella. Yes, you can enjoy your portabella. I'm allergic to those, is what I tell the waitress.
What is portabella?
It's a mushroom. It's not the kind you want, though. It's the kind you eat, not the kind we were talking, not an electric one.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Mandy has to go change her battery and charge it up and all that. And I love portobello mushroom burgers from Carl's Jr. You're going to laugh. I hate mushrooms. Mushrooms and tomatoes. Keep them away from me unless they have psilocybin in them. Then I'm going to eat them.
Why don't you like mushrooms? Because last time you said the tomato is the texture and all that. Why don't you like mushrooms?
Truth be told, I'm partial, and this is not me lying. I'm dead serious. Anytime I've ever eaten food with mushrooms in it, whether it's a kumini mushroom, a portobello mushroom, no matter what, my tongue swells up to a point where it's like it's hard for me to breathe. Yeah. So, like, that's why I don't eat it. So my friends who cook and like come over and cook with me and stuff like that, they know this, and they'll put mushrooms on the side and add it to their dish afterwards. and that way it's not cooked with it because God, if balanced right, usually they aren't. I agree with you. Britt, Fernando, mushrooms remind me of my mic. Oh my God.
I did not see that coming from.
I left it just for you. I left it just for you. So mushroom and tomatoes are so good. Tomatoes are Satan's fruit. That's right. They come from the ground. They're red like the devil. God, I love when Brian and I are on the same wavelength. Same wavelength. By the way, if anybody needs anything for this Thanksgiving, do me a favor and let us know, because we want to spread thanks. We want to spread cheer. We want to spread positivity. And this year, mental health, we're 2 years into this pandemic. Fernando, can you do me a favor? I can't copy that and YouTube won't open while I'm on air, just as it takes too much bandwidth. If you send that to me on Facebook, Fernando, I'll be able to open this link and play the video on here. And from there, I say, Brandon doesn't like olives either. I don't like olives. I think they're slimy. I feel like I'm eating worms when I eat olives. If I eat an olive, it's after I eat a mushroom. I hate olives.
I eat mushrooms, tomato, olives.
Swollen tongue.
Tribe. I don't know if you know what tribe is. Swollen tongue, extra bonus. Ooh.
Right.
So tribe is a South African dish where they take the hooves and the eyes and the intestines and everything and they just cook it together. It's just, it smells horrible. It just looks like it can taste horrible. I've never.
The hooves and the eyes?
Everything they can find, all the intestines, everything, like literally inside the animal, and they cook with that. The small intestine, the large intestine, everything. And they've got runaways as well. So they eat runaways. It's chicken feet. And they call it pop and runaways. So they cook the chicken feet and they call it runaways.
Do you want to know? So I helped manage a Chinese restaurant back in the day. Okay. And that's a lot being said right there, you know. But I help manage a Chinese restaurant, and one of the things is they always put how healthy their food was, and they would always write these signs, and I'm like, their food's not healthy. Oh, sorry, I'll come to that one in a second. They say how healthy their food is and all this stuff, and I'm like, okay. And then the one day I go and pick up the chicken, and I'm picking it up. It's literally on the box, chicken extras. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, it's not like the thighs. It's not the legs. It's not the wings. It's not the this. It's the extras. I'm like, that does not sound good. And I'm like,
the chicken don't go with extras.
Well, yeah. I'm like,
standard.
And then I'm bringing this box in and I'm asking the owner, I go like, wait a minute, this doesn't sound like something I really would want to eat. And he goes, that's just because you picky. And I'm like, I'm not that picky. I'm not. Like, oh my God. Like, oh, listen to this cocky ass comment here. I wouldn't ever cook and leave mushrooms out for you. Sorry. Well, then guess what? When I find out what your food you don't like is, I'm gonna only make that. All right. Chicken egg straws. I love Chinese. You have to cook it in. There are foods you have to cook it in, and I can always pick them out. It's not like it's like that. It's if I eat the mushroom, my tongue swells up. If I eat the olive, I feel like I'm going to throw up. If I eat the tomato, I throw up. So that's why. And it's only chunky tomatoes, as weird as that sounds. It would stink up the house. Yeah. Like, blah, blah, blah. So, all right. What did you get into this weekend? Now that I've talked for 40 minutes, catching everybody up on how busy this was and get you guys all excited.
I went to a wedding, which was weird. It was one of the most beautiful venues I've ever seen. It's this huge hall, so it's got this whole princessy vibe that it's got there, but I don't know why people want to get married. I mean, the bride it was so beautiful, but she was so worried about what was everybody else doing and what everybody else was thinking and everything. I've actually felt so sad, but it was one of the most beautiful weddings I have ever seen. It was really, really beautiful.
Look, I have to ask a question. You've been married twice, correct? 3 times. 3 times. 9 times? That's 9 in sign language, just so you know. You've been married 9 times.
Maybe this is with the future Ilse. You never know.
By the time Ilse's 9 marriages later. Like, so, all right, Ilse, if you have been married twice, I've been engaged and married, so, you know, if I don't think I want to get married again. And that's just something on me. Like, I 100% am like,
what's putting me out here? 3?
I think she's just, yeah, 3 times. First time, shame on me. Second time, shame on you. Third time, what the hell am I doing?
Third time, they all the same. Do not get married.
Oh my God, she's not making fun of you. Look at this. I can't even get married once.
Oh, so it's a blessing. Thanks, Britt.
Is anyone else here Ilse's ex-husband? Great, Mama Gotti.
Filling the space for next.
Oh my gosh, taking applications.
People getting married in their 30s, it's always a nice age for your first marriage.
I honestly, this is funny. My sister's on her 3rd husband. I'm sorry, I hit the wrong one. I just wanted to read them both. I didn't think I wanted to be married again until I met my current wife. And truth be told, I understand that. When I met my now ex-fiance, 2 years there, I never wanted anybody else. She was my world and everything. And I 100% looked at it and was like, I don't ever want to get married. And that's why I had a hard time setting a date, is because I wanted her to want me. And I think it became more about the wedding than it did about actually.
I was thinking that the whole weekend, it's more about the wedding than it really is about the marriage most of the times.
Yes. And then I'm only married to my bamboo. I knew that. I knew that. What the fuck? Is there something wrong with me? No. It's not you. First off, I can't count. I can't say no, there's not. You like tomatoes, mushrooms, and olives, so there might be something.
There are people out there that also like it, Britt.
I think that we need to take that statement off the table for so many of us. And I mean that in such a great way, because think about that, Ilse. Like, when we're out there and you're putting, what's up, TJ? Good afternoon, my friend. But like, when
TJ's
you put yourself
flying to South Africa today. TJ's flying to South Africa today. I'm picking him up at the airport on Wednesday.
Yes. Wait until I'm 43. See, Stuart has it right. And that's the thing is, we get married and we have this idea. And I'm saying this, that getting married to that significant other that fulfills us, that balances us, it has that other side that we're looking for, as great as all of those would be. The truth is, you just are putting the pussy on a pedestal. You're putting the penis on a pedestal. You're putting somebody else's happiness on your happiness on somebody else. So for me, I don't. Go ahead.
So after I decided to get divorced for the 3rd time, I promised myself I won't get married legally. I'll get married and I'll have a ceremony if I meet the person that I know I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. But I don't want a piece of paper hang over my head to say that person can treat me like shit.
Yeah.
Because I'm married, I can't change my mind in being with you. So you will work to keep me. It's not about a piece of paper. It's about you either want to be with someone or you don't want to be with someone, and a piece of paper does not change that.
Right. And here's the thing. I like how we're saying it, I wouldn't want a big wedding. And that's the thing. I don't either. Truth be told, I've been married once and I paid for that entire wedding. I worked 85 hours to 100 hours plus. I worked a shit ton because her dad couldn't afford it. So I worked so I could give her that wedding. And then in the second wedding I was supposed to be in, I I want it small. I want the people who are actually like, if we're going through something and we're talking of divorce, they remind us of why we were together, why we bring each other up. I want that. I don't want to just have somebody that's there. I don't care if you're the sexiest person alive. I don't care if you're the best lay I've ever had. I don't care if you're rich. I don't care if you're poor. I want us to be happy together and build each other up, because that happiness comes from when you want to be left alone. I give you your space. That happiness comes from when you need the attention. You understand that maybe there's times I need space and you need attention. That comes in many, many ways. And the truth is, unless you love yourself first, all the way, you're never going to have a partner. And Stuart Lone Wolf, I love how you said it. Where did it go? He said he waited till he was 43. And then Brian says, Brian with a Y, my biggest regret was having a big wedding. It was a fun as hell. But agree that the wedding detracts from what is actually being celebrated. It's all about show, not actually celebrating. Thank you. Brian.
And how many of those people sit there and they just gossip about everything?
How many of those people don't really give two shits about you? They want the free meal, you know? Like
and the food was amazing. I'm a sucker for a wedding with good food. And the food was amazing. Let me just put it out there. The food was delicious.
And that's the thing. If I ever get married, I would want it to be kind of small and personalized. Yes. If I ever get married, went to City Hall, filed marriage paperwork, no wedding. Paper. And that's the thing I agree with that 150 million%. The reason I say that is if you go get married and you let everybody know you're getting married, you don't have to come to a wedding, but you're going to have a party. Okay. I could see that too. I'm okay with that, because then you're not asking anybody to do anything, and they're all coming over. It's more personal and all that, and it's not this huge, oh, I need a big dress, oh, I need the church, oh, I need a pastor, oh, I need a this, oh, I need a that, oh, I need a this. It's easy. The whole day.
If people put half the effort into their relationships that they do in planning their weddings, you wouldn't have so many divorces.
And here, I like this. You need better friends. I still talk to every person that was in my wedding, and we support each other, but still stand by my statement. And I wish I would have done that, Stuart. Stuart says our whole day cost less than $3,000 and only had 6 people at the actual ceremony. That's awesome. Going into debt for a 5-hour event seems incredibly wasteful. I could never, but I love to go to other people's weddings. Foods and drinks are fun. You are both my star. You're my star. But I also look at it like this. So Ilse, let's use you and I as an example. The average wedding today costs about $10,000. Okay, average. All right. So if you and I are getting married, and Ilse and we're going to have this huge blowout wedding, I want you to do the math on this. If you and I just do a small wedding, and we have everybody, then instead of mailing presents and coming and all this, we have them send us we register for other things, and the money in that we get, instead of paying $10,000 for a wedding, we have everybody come to or give it to buy a house, start a business with your significant other, do something that invests in the relationship. That $10,000 would be huge. Building into a future.
Go on a destination wedding. Fly to on a holiday and go get married under a tree in the Bahamas or whatever, and then come back and tell people, "Oh, we're married." And
what if you could have a wedding at? Have you ever seen a wedding? I would have a wedding at a pinball game, like a whole room full of pinball machines, and you just keep playing games and pinballs and basketballs, and it's loud, but it'd be fun. Yeah. Yes. Asking my wife for a one-on-one 1-versus-1 in air hockey. Yes, Pantsu, I love it. So, all right, before we get too distracted, which has already happened, I want to pull this video up that Mr. Fernando sent to us that he's raving about. So, guys, tell me you can hear it.
There was a princess. Rap battle. Cinderella versus Belle. Let the rap battle begin.
Another princess in my shadow come to covet my crown. You clowns want to throw down with the best in a gown. I'm the legendary story of rags to riches. Rhyme sharper than a needle and I'm giving out stitches. Ha! Like a wilting rose, you can't step to my flows. These girls are tripping, did they cut off their toes? I deserve all the praise for the foot fetish trade. I got itty bitty kids but legs for days. Let's look at your mentality. Freud loves your abnormality. The Stockholm Syndrome story, beauty and the bestiality. Of course you're bitter, I'm the #1 star. Pimp and carriage, perfect marriage, no one cares who you are.
What's my name?
Belle.
What's it mean?
Beauty.
I'm the perfect combination of brains and booty. While I'm gaining knowledge, you're losing your pumps. Like Mrs. Possum serving shots and dishing out lumps. Cindy's dreaming she's important. Well, somebody should wake her. This gold-digging trophy wife's the royal baby maker. You're the nerdy, wordy princess, cause I'm throwing more shade than the willow tree growing on your dead mother's grave. Your tale is old as time, sets us back 50 years.
Oh my God, this is great.
The floors till a band just appears. You're shallow and obsessed with looks and how you're dressed. You want to live like Gaston? Please be our guest.
Oh, I'm the one who's shallow because your prince was really hairy. Friend zone till he gave you his library. Your points have no merit. You're jealous? Declare it. Like I've always said, if the shoe fits, wear it. I'm the American dream with a fairy tale wedding. You got teapots for friends, and I think your man's shedding. Some things are meant to be. Like at first sight. Bibbidi bobbidi booyah, he was mine before midnight.
A relationship rookie wants to rap about romance. You
This
can't
is a
fall
great-
in love after
I
just
love
one
this.
dance. My prince saved my life, and don't be misled. I want a man in the street, but a beast in the bed. Your Your silly story shoehorned into freaking Tom and Jerry. You say you want to party next to your runoff down the halls. It's like you always choke once you make it to the balls.
You think that's funny?
Oh!
History lesson, honey. My movie saved the studio when Walt was out of money. You followed in my footsteps. Without me, there's no you. Disney built an empire on these tiny glass shoes.
If you're so adored, where's your Academy Award? I'm the smart female heroine that can't be ignored. The moral of our quarrel and why I've got you beat, it's what's inside that matters, not the size of your feet.
This is hilarious.
They just brought
Thanks
it.
for watching.
I did not expect.
And thanks for letting Cinderella win.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
That was awesome. Britt said she's tired of our bullshit already today, so she's heading out. She's like, F you all. I'm done. Hey, guys, before we get too far into this, I want you guys to do me a favor. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share button. I don't know if you guys know this. We are at 389 subscribers. That means we're 11 away from 400. If we just get 11 friends, that means like Kevin the other day got his best friend to join our Discord and follow the YouTube. If you literally can think of somebody who you know is going through hell, go on your Facebook, go on your Instagram, go on your Snapchat, and the first person you see putting something negative up, be like, hey, I love you. I want to see you be happy. Here's something I start my day with. Okay? Like, just help us get to that 400. We're pushing it. We're doing great. I do have to do one thing before we move on because I know that I have to. And if I don't, it's disrespectful on me. Ladies and gentlemen, happy birthday, Rebecca, my youngest sister. Today is your birthday. Without you in my life, I probably would have been a real pain in the ass. You're always trying to push me. You're always trying to make me better. And you're always looking around and seeing what your opinion is best. And while that sometimes sucks ass, you really have a great heart, and I'm truly honored to have you as my sister. And at least you're not adopted like Veronica. Love you.
It wouldn't be a birthday wish without the adoption.
So growing up, Veronica always was like a little different. That Rebecca and I bonded to sports, entertainment, while Veronica always had her own little thing. Okay. And then Rebecca and Veronica, they have their own thing as sisters. And Veronica and I have our own thing. But the funny thing, oh, thank you guys. I'm going to make sure she sees these. I love this. Absolutely. A Kevin versus Fernando rap battle. Oh.
That can work.
That would be hilarious. Oh, you think you're so special because you live on
Discord.
That should be, because could you imagine? One's in Canada, one's in Mexico. We have all the better animals while you got, I don't know, I'd have to come up with that. Classic Veronica. Oh my gosh. Rebecca is a Scorpio. She must be amazing. So Rebecca and I would roast Veronica. and we convinced her we were so mean. We convinced Veronica she was adopted. To this day, it still is a joke. Veronica's not adopted. If I shave Veronica's head, she looks like a mini-me because she's barely 5 foot. So please know, I love my family. I love my sisters. And Veronica, you're not adopted. It is just a family joke. And I love you to death. But you also provided me my niece, and she's my favorite human in the world. So kind of have to love you. Why do all the trees in America learn? Hold on. Mama Gotti, I got this one. You ready? Why do all the trees in America or in Ohio lean northwest? Do you know why?
No.
And I get to do this all week, whether you're a sports fan or not. The greatest rivalry in all of sports is this weekend. It's Ohio State versus Michigan. 120 years. Ohio State is coming back. So guess what? We're about to pass them for most wins all time in this rivalry. Okay, every year it's the biggest game of the year. It's Ohio State's ranked 3rd. They're ranked 5th. It's a big rivalry. You ready for this? So why do all the trees in Ohio point northwest? Because Michigan sucks and Pittsburgh blows.
I like that, but now I've got one for Discord. I would really want to watch a football game with you guys.
All right, Saturday. How about that? We're going to have the movie. I'll stream the football game.
Saturday. I've got Death Fest Saturday.
You know
Saturday
what?
Is
your energy is just not on with me today. I don't know where you're coming from, but hey, look, Rachel. So good to see you, Rachel. That's Kevin's best friend, I believe. I think. If I'm wrong, Rachel, tell me. I want to know you. I want to make sure I give you proper introductions.
I saw her on Discord as well.
Welcome to the Delight Cafe. We're glad you're here, Mama Gotti. I have no other jokes. You get all the rest of them. And Mama, you and I are going to be talking smack to each other all week, and you knew it, you know it, and I love you for it. Like, that's what makes this community so special, is we respect each other that much. So, Ilse, we do have a guest coming on in the next few minutes.
We do. And did you read the bio?
I know, I'm straight, but when you see a handsome person, you have to admit it. And apparently he doesn't like those compliments, because the minute I called Sean handsome, he turned his camera off. He's like, F this, I'm out of here. Sean, nope. His bio is 100% amazing. His bio is fun as hell. He is... Ilse, can you read the bio? I'll hit the button, and we will dive into our guest. Guys, don't forget to go hit that like button. For real, 11 people away. 11. 1-1.
11 is a lucky number. Come.
And
we are interviewing our special guest, Sean Gunderson. Sean Gunderson is a survivor of nearly 2 decades of psychiatric detention. He found solace during those times by engaging in daily spiritual practice rooted in meditation. Now free of the psychiatric system that detained him for his entire youth, he offers his insights on the mental health system in hopes of transforming it into what it is intended to be, a system where people who need help can truly go to heal. I'm excited for this.
I have to be honest, I read this, and it couldn't be a better Mental Health Monday guest. I'm excited. I'm glad he's here. We're going to learn about it. I hope he doesn't get offended that I called him handsome. I'm straight, buddy. I just understand good-looking guys to good-looking guys. I call it out like it is. You've worked hard to look that good. I want you to know it's noticeable. So, guys, do not go anywhere. We'll be back in 1 minute exactly after a word from our sponsor. Go pee. Go get your glass of water. Whatever you need to do, go do it, guys. 1 minute. Ready? Set? Go!
Hi, my name is Brandon, and over the past year, the Delight Cafe team and I traveled across the U.S. researching this rapidly growing industry of CBD products. What we have found throughout the industry were products that were inconsistent in dosage and used ingredients that weren't even lab tested. Products with chalky textures, bitter aftertaste, and worst of all, confusion among the CBD consumers. That's why we created Delight Cafe. A 15 milligram, lab tested, all natural, water soluble hemp CBD powder pack. It's odorless, colorless, and tasteless. Add it to your favorite drink of choice, wherever, whenever, on the go. Quickly find your calm, your balance, your delight when you need it most.
Boom. Give Sean that view. Sean, first off, right off the bat, I got to compliment the background. Bro,
Thank you.
I love that. Like, 100%, like, yes. So, Sean, I have to know about you, my friend. Tell us about what you've been through and the positive ways you've come out of it, brother.
Okay, well, called mental illness can face any one of us. I grew up with a normal family. I grew up any sort of mental issues. Around the time that I was about 17. I had this very intense spiritual experience that I really was not equipped to handle. I couldn't make sense of it, and so how I responded to that was I essentially descended into a state of what we would call psychosis. And I tried to make sense of it. It wasn't working. Conceptual tools I was applying just were not working. Ultimately and tragically, I ended up attacking my beloved family when I was 18, and I got sent to the criminal justice system. Now, my family, they are wonderful people. We've since made up. They have been my greatest supporters over the past 2 decades. So I have nothing bad to say about. But at the time, nobody knew how this would play out. So what happened to I believe could happen to anybody. And so I think the fact that I survived all of this and that I was cognizant of what happened, to be able to turn around and offer my perspective to improve our mental health system, because there's a lot of problems in the mental health system, but I think the salient features is that wherever you go, you find people that genuinely want to help. And what I found is that a lot of the problem is that this very righteous desire to help other human beings gets misled by an ideology, and specifically that ideology is what we might call the medical model. That is this presumption, what we call mental illness is of a biological pathology, that sort of underlying medical issue that gives rise to mental illness, and we don't have the science to support that. So here I am. I'm on your show. Thanks for having me. A great opportunity to share my experiences. So feel free if you haven't want to know anything specific. Here I am.
I read your bio and you use words like survivor and detention. Why do you use those words when you describe your life, your story?
Well, as I said, with regard to the mental health system, there is much an emphasis on a specific ideology, and that is, to put it, just clearly so the audience understands. They essentially expect you to acknowledge that you have a biochemical imbalance, that is some sort of imbalance in your neurotransmitters, and that you need the psychiatric in order to correct that. That is not supported by science. There's no known biological pathology. Specifically, there's no known neurotransmitter imbalance that psychiatric medications correct. And so they're essentially pressuring you to ascribe to an ideology. And so I use the term survivor because of that. I found healing in my own way. So I recognized that there was an underlying problem, but that the ideology we're promoting was not appropriate to fix it. And so I use terms like detention center because keep it broad. I find the analogy that surrounds a hospital. To use that whole lexicon of terminology, patients and staff and treatment and care. It just does not do just people understand what life is really like in there. So I prefer just the more neutral and broad term of detention or detention center. Because that's really what's going on. We, as an individual who is subject to that, I was taken against my will and my family's will. Even though they were my crime victims, they didn't want to press charges, wanted me out back in the community and getting the help that I. Can you hear me? Sorry, I broke up there for a second.
Actually, so there's a delay, and we're getting everything you're saying like copied over it. Would you mind resetting like your phone really quick and then coming right back on? Just because like I was trying to fix it behind the scene, and that way, because I want to make sure we give you your best interview, so I didn't want to interrupt you. What I'll do is come back, and I'm going to make sure everybody asks questions in the comments. So right when you come back on, your interview is ready to like knock it out, and we have questions from the audience because I want to know more about your story, Sean. I'm already got my own set of questions, but I want to make sure we let our audience too. Sound good?
Absolutely.
Yep, perfect. All right, just reset your phone because like I don't want to have that static and have you not give you the best interview we can.
Yep, will do.
All right, see you in a second.
Okay, so sounds good.
So guys. You heard this. Sean's got an amazing story. To be that raw right off the bat. Like, Ilse, think about that. He, at 18, was already dealing with his family and like, pulling himself away from his family and hurting. And the thing is, I know what that's like in a way, but not to his extreme. And we all have had moments where, especially this time of year, this is mental health season. This is where we are all starting to feel that like anxiety, that pain. My parents do not handle the holidays well. One wants clean, the other wants to cook. They both want Brandon to help. And my sisters are doing other things. And it creates this anger and animosity to where I hate the holiday season. But I've never fought with my family to the point that they've had me go to a detention center. I mean, that's a hard thing. And for him Sean to be this honest with us, this raw, like, guys, if you have any questions, like, have you ever felt completely alone? And then how do you get through the holidays? How do you push yourself to get to that next step? Because for me, I'll tell you what, it's not easy. And it's not easy to just wake up and keep going. You're muted, sweetheart. You're muted.
Story of my life.
I know that's not true.
Mute the bitch. She's got too much to say. I think it must be a difficult. I'll mute myself. Yeah. I'm here for the entertainment. I think it's a difficult thing for parents to take that step as well. And
yes.
and especially with your kids to know. I mean, because you're a parent, you want to help them, you don't know how to help them. You also can't see into the future that if the help they give them is gonna help. So I don't think it can be an easy thing to do.
I agree. And look at this, Sean. Let's do a test, buddy. How do you sound?
Can you hear me? Is this better?
I can hear you much better. I like the sound much better and everything. I want to commend you. You're very honest about where you're coming from on this. And at 18, to have your family doing that. And I explained to everybody, like, everybody hates this time of year. Thanksgiving, Christmas, the holidays. Like, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. This time of year seems to stress people out. And you're 18. You're just starting to understand what it's like to be on your own, to life, college, creating boundaries. And you're fighting with your family. And then you get put in a detention home. Now, a detention home, in my eyes, from where I grew up, when I got put in there, all I did is meet other people that had better weed than me, that had better drugs than me. I mean, it's one of those things. Or they knew how to do things like break into buildings that I've never been into. And it's like, you're not teaching me how to be a better person. You're teaching me how to make more friends with people who are doing things that might sound cooler to me at a young age. How did you keep yourself sorry, I read that Fernando. Sounds great. How do you keep yourself going, Sean? Like, to not fall down that trap and then end up being just another product of society in and out of prisons because of a quote unquote mental illness that you wanted to be better from. You didn't even understand.
So what ended up happening was first of all, I went to jail. So I was in Cook County Jail, which incidentally, because I think it's the country's largest jail, that is the United States' largest jail, and it's also the U.S.'s largest mental facility, just because of the number of people with so-called mental illness that they house. But when I was at Cook County Jail, I was doing I was in an existential crisis. When you're in jail, basically you have the bare minimum of, pleasures and things that we're accustomed to. So you got like food off the commissary, which was like, ramen noodles and granola bars, and Kool-Aid. And you might have some cigarettes, and I wasn't even really much of a smoker either, and so you had these physical pleasures, these things that we are so accustomed to out in the community. Of course, we have a lot more variety out in the community, but in there, I was looking for happiness through these things. So I was looking forward to commissary on Friday night, and getting a new pack of cigarettes from my buddy who was selling them, and then I had this insight that this wasn't going to make me happy. That I could, get commissary till the day I die every Friday, and I would never find anything more meaningful. And that's when I started to explore a meditation practice. I figured I had all the time in the world, and so I just learned how to be happy sitting still in discipline. And I've been meditating basically since around 2004, 2005, as a result of the situation I just described, and it has dramatically changed my life. And one of the things I like to say, as it regards the mental health system, and really any situation of adversity you find yourself in, the greatest act of rebellion is to be genuinely happy. And I found that in the system, it's harder for people to control you when you're happy. So when I was doing my meditation, and I ultimately got into yoga, I was kind of expanding that. When I got into that, it was a lot harder for them to try and wave this ideology in front of me and say that, hey, Sean, if you just tell us that that you're going to take these pills and that they're like insulin for diabetes, even though there's no science to support that, if you just say this, we'll let you out in a few years. And I was like, no, that doesn't make any sense to me. It's definitely not going to make me happy. It's just going to eat away at my conscience. And that also presumes that they're going to follow through on their word, because it wasn't like you say this and you go home tomorrow. Maybe I would have done it if it was, you say this and you go home tomorrow or next week. But when it was, you say this and maybe we'll let you out in 3 or 4 years, it was like, I don't trust that. I'm just going to be happy here and now and see where that leads me. And it took a while, but I'm grateful I did that. I'm still in my 30s, so I still have life ahead of me, and I've learned so much, and I'm happy now. And so even though I lost all those years, I'm in a position that many people my age are just not in that I now know what the importance of happiness on a daily basis and how to find it.
It's difficult to speak about these things that happen in our past and everything, especially if it's not our decisions that get us there. I want to know, while you were in the system or in being held detention, has the mental institution violated your human rights in any way?
Routinely. Our mental health system routinely violates human rights. And here's something that a lot of people don't know. In our country. So, I'm from Chicago, Illinois, in the United States. And in 2018, the United Nations Human Rights Council produced a report specifically regarding the mental health system around the world. And they made some very powerful statements. Essentially, one of them was, number one, we've got to re-examine this whole biomedical model thing because it's leading to this gross power imbalance that providers of mental health services are exploiting. And number two, essentially what we would call the standard of care in the United States. That is the type of treatment that we assume is appropriate and normal, actually amounts to torture and human rights abuses in most cases. So the UN actually said this in 2018, and most people are not aware of it. When I came across that, number one, it resonated with me because I lived it. I was like, yeah, this is exactly what goes on in there. the other important point to understand is that the UN is not saying anything new. That if you look at the history of the treatment of the so-called mentally ill, the past several decades, the past several hundred years, you see a history of abuse. And the UN in 2018 came out and said, you know what, that's still going on. It wasn't like a brand new thing, like, oh my God, we're now abusing people. It's like, no, the history of abuse, that's still going on. And so I, am using my position to be able to raise awareness on that, because it's important. I was shocked to find out that mental health professionals in our own country are unaware of that statement by the UN. And so, my goal really is to try and work toward bringing our mental health system in the U.S. and even across the world, in line with what the UN is saying, at least in a generalized sense. So, changing the way that we understand mental illness and subsequently how we treat it.
My phone won't, my computer won't unmute. I'm hitting buttons and hitting buttons.
I can hear you now.
I'm like, so I have to ask, and this is going to be a different perception, but it's curious. Have you ever talked to your parents after all of this? And with them choosing to do what happened and the family and all that, how did that affect the relationship with you and your family? And do you see it as a positive, or has it created more of a strain with everything?
I think that initially there was a strain. When I started to do things differently, like when I was openly refusing the psychiatric drugs, initially I had to convince everyone around me, including my parents, that it was valid. And that's just, I think, due in large part to the narratives and the presumptions that we have in society surrounding so-called mental illness. But after a few years, with my parents, because they would come to see me like every weekend. We had visitation, and they would come to see me. After a few years of them seeing me at visit, and then seeing my good record, of conduct in the facility, they were starting to like, wait, maybe he's onto something. And so I would say for about the past 10 years, they've just been completely on my side. Like, you know what, Sean, it was probably the meds that caused it in the first place.
It was. I'm not even trying to look, I say that as someone who is, I have bipolar 2 disorder, severe depression, anxiety. I've attempted suicide. I'm very open about my mental health. Yeah. Very open about it. But the thing is, meditation is a huge thing for me.
Yeah.
Like stretching, exercise, all of that. And the thing is, I was on these meds. Like when you were a kid, Sean, you said you're in your 30s. Can I ask how old you are?
I'm 37.
I'm 38. So you and I are in the same time frame. I feel connected to you already, through this.
Excellent.
One of my big things is my family wanted to get me help. And as a kid, they did everything they could to help. And what I mean by that is I was on medicines, I was on pills, I was on all these different things, but they didn't know the difference. They were trusting a doctor. And then when I attempted suicide in my early 20s, what did they do? I'm in a psych ward, and they have me on so many fucking pills. I've already used my F. You get an F word. I used mine already for the day. So
fair enough.
But I 100%, I agree with you. I think the pills played a big role because you have to know yourself. And as a kid, we're already being drugged because we're not sitting still. Were you ADHD as a kid?
I was not. I was actually an amazing student. I was a straight A student, and so we diverged at least there. But yeah, I was actually, I was an excellent student. I did not have ADHD problems. My parents were like, what? I was a dream child because I would go home and I would do my homework. Before anything, before I played ice hockey. So, before hockey or immediately after hockey practice, I would do my homework. So I was an amazing student. But nevertheless, they, like your situation, when all of this begun to happen, they were looking out to, psychiatrists, to mental health professionals to guide them. And that's where they were misled. And, and I said this before is, a lot of these people have good intentions, but they're very misled. When you want to help somebody and then you promote an ideology that is not scientifically sound, you can easily run into some situations where you're not helping people, but you're harming people. And so I would, say to anybody out there who's in the field, if you genuinely want to help people, and I know there's plenty that are, inform yourself and make sure you're not promoting unsubstantiated scientific hypotheses to people who are vulnerable and need help. Because if my family ran into mental health professionals who said, you know what, we honestly don't know what's wrong with your son, but we feel he needs some help, and we're going to talk to him, and we're going to try and work with him and figure out how to stabilize him. And another thing that I like to say is that, and this is based on my experience, that, number one, life is very difficult. It's very challenging for anybody. We go through periods of upheaval. Maybe you lost your job, or, the pandemic, maybe you're locked in your home, or whatever it might be. Life will present difficulties, and nobody should need to ascribe to an unsupported ideology, a scientifically unsound ideology to get help. It shouldn't be like, I need help, so I need to say that I'm sick in order to get the help. It's just, life is challenging, I need some help. That's the mental health system I envision. And right now we have a mental health system where you need to acknowledge that you're sick to get that help. And that is taking advantage of vulnerable people. It's not scientifically supported, and in my experience, I can't speak for other people, but in my experience, it causes a lot more harm than it does help.
Mama Goti, one of our viewers, has got a very good question here. She says, today there is still a stigma for people labeled as mentally ill. Do you face this in your life, and how do you address it and overcome it? And then I want to know, are you drinking any medication at the moment, or are you completely off any pharmaceuticals?
I've been off medications, all pharmaceuticals, for about a decade. So can you repeat that first part of the question for me again?
Yes, sure. It says, today there is still a stigma for people labeled as mentally ill. Do you face this in your own life, and how do you address and overcome it?
Okay, yes, I do. I live a life, like I have a secret. And that's because I don't know what the people that I interact with, I don't know what they believe about mental illness. And it really is all about the beliefs, because, like I said before, we don't know what it is. The best we got is that people have issues and they need help, but we don't know what those issues actually are. So I run into people and I don't know what they're thinking. So I try to keep it somewhat concealed, at least at this point in my life. But there's a secondary reason for that, and that's because I honestly believe that once the people in my environment get to know me as a person, that later on when they find out about my history, they'll be like shocked. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe that guy actually had these, mental health issues like that. And so that's actually part of my strategy for dealing with the stigma. It's to sort of, prove them wrong essentially first, just by, being me. In a social situation, and then later on it's like, oh wow, Sean had these issues, but that's not at all who he is. So I don't want to walk into a situation where people know my history and presume things about me. A situation like this, of course, is an exception because I'm getting the opportunity to tell my own story in my own words. My concern is a situation where, I'm talking to people who are going to, assume that I have a biochemical imbalance and that I should be on medication, and that there's and then I have the responsibility of explaining why I'm not. No, clearly, if I've been doing well for 10 years, I'm doing something right. And there should be at least a fundamental validation of that. After I get that validation, if someone wants to have a conversation on the merits of, treatment A versus treatment B, we can do that. But I at least want that validation. So, that's how I deal with stigma. And that's my own unique circumstances. Not everyone might be able to do that. I found it effective. And so I will not speak for other people, but that is how I've dealt with stigma.
So what would be, in your opinion, obviously, how can families show support? It's been COVID for 2 years. We're going into our junior year of COVID right now. And I have classic jokes that I just can't not use. You know what I mean? But it's one of these things with you know a significant other, a family member, like someone like that creepy uncle that everybody's like afraid to have come over. If you know somebody that deals with that, what would be your recommendation for people dealing with family members with mental illness? And I don't want to say dealing, and I don't want to say handling, but those are the words that I'm choosing to use because it helps relate.
Yeah.
But like, how do you see that being able during the holidays? How can they show support? How can they show love and show compassion with people with mental illness?
Okay, so number one, validate whatever they're saying. If they say that they're the CEO of McDonald's, then to them, they are the CEO of McDonald's. To the rest of us, they're not, but to them, they are. You know, and so part of the problem that I had was that nobody would validate what I was saying. You know, I was saying some pretty off-the-wall stuff, but it was sort of strengthened by the fact that no one would believe me. It was like, well, I was going around, you know, telling people that I was the Messiah. You know, I do not believe that anymore. I've long since grown past that. But, you know, back in 2002, I was telling my parents, like, you know what, I think I'm the Messiah. You know, and I was looking for some validation. You know, it doesn't mean they have to believe me, but it's like, hey, you know, Sean, maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. We don't know, but we're asking you, you know, to maybe, you know, go into some sort of talk therapy with us. So I think one of the things that I would recommend to families is don't just like pass off your loved one to the mental health professionals and say, you need help. No. There is a therapy called open dialogue therapy, which is popular in Scandinavia, which the whole family unit, or at least the social unit, is involved. And so let's just say, you know, to use my situation as an example, I was an only child, so it was just me, my mom, and my dad. You know, we should have all gone to some sort of open dialogue therapy, for example, to work out whatever this issue was. And I really think that we would have found success. I think that if my parents would have just validated me and say, you know what, Sean, you know, we don't necessarily believe you. We're certainly not going to pray to you. But if you believe this, you know, we don't have evidence against it. And so I think part of why this might work and why I felt in retrospect it would work for me is because it wasn't just my responsibility to heal. It was the family unit. And so it wasn't just, Sean, you have something you need to do. It was, wait, we all have something we need to do. Because I could say from personal experience that in that so-called psychotic state, my parents were involved in that. Somehow, you know, they were a part of why I was undergoing mental distress. You know, and of course there was some sort of delusional belief system around it. But nevertheless, the point is that I had this belief that somehow they were involved in the problem. So why not involve them in the solution? And so that would be my advice. Don't just, you know, if you have somebody over for Thanksgiving and they're just talking very strange and it's making you uncomfortable, don't just say, oh, you need help. You go see a psychiatrist. You go see a mental health professional. No, it's, hey, you know, I think we as a family are doing something wrong, you know, and I think we need to go talk about it.
I like that because in the holiday season, we don't always know what to say to people. And sometimes all people need is that little bit of validation, like you are seen and you are heard. Doesn't matter if what you say makes sense to somebody else. So I like that. I want to know with your whole history being in the mental institutions for so long, or for most of your youth, if you can say that, because I mean, when you're going into your 40s, there's a lot of things that you wanted to accomplish. What is one of the failures in your life that changed your life in a way that you never thought it would?
I mean, just this whole experience. Okay, you know, like I said at the beginning of our interview, you know, when I went into the jail, I was, you know, thinking that ramen noodles were going to make me happy. You know, I could get like, you know, maximum $60 worth of food every Friday at commissary, and I thought that this would make me happy. When I was finally honest with myself that it was not, and I turned to meditation, you know, that's when I really found that happiness that I am so glad today that I have. And so, you know, the greatest failure essentially, you know, was doing all of this, was you know, descending into that state of so-called mental illness was unfortunately attacking my family, which was a failure. I mean, that was not what should have happened. But at the same time, what I got out of it, what I turned it into, was something very useful. And so it's kind of like recycling. It was like, initially that was trash. What I did was essentially trash, but I recycled it, and now I have essentially what I feel is a beautiful life. It's a very simple life. I'm finishing up my bachelor's degree, at college. I'm a certified personal trainer, and I teach group fitness classes, so I have a comfortable little life, and I'm happy with that. It was the result of a massive failure, not just my failure, but I think it was a failure of everyone involved, including the mental health system itself. But I've, turned it around. And so, even though it was a failure, I can't remain bitter over that failure, even though I recognize it as such. It was just like, you know what? I still have to be grateful for it.
Mm-hmm. So I got to make fun of Ilse for a second. She said, well, you get closer to 40. And I have to point out, so I don't know if you guys know this, but Julia Childs was 50 years old when she wrote her first cookbook. Stan Lee didn't catch his first break until he was 40 years old with the Fantastic Four. Vera Wang did not sell anything in the fashion industry until she was over 40. Toni Morrison was 60. She was 62 before she broke free. Lionel Richie, 52. Hubert Jones, 69. I could keep going. There is so many people that have been in successful situations after 40. And with me coming up on 40, Elsa, I have to make sure that I find the positives in there. Because honestly,
I'm 40 in 3 weeks. What are you talking about? My 40th birthday is in 3 weeks.
So the positive on that is, look at the difference we can change. Look at how these people that were there and they didn't let their age break them. They didn't let their mental illness break them. But I love this. Stuart Lone Wolf has a question. I repeat myself because I didn't see it earlier and sometimes the comments don't come in. Sorry, Stuart. But is Sean or anyone else here familiar with the Insight Project? It is in its infancy, but has already somewhat helped me. I have not heard of it. Have you heard of this?
No, I have not.
What is that, Stuart? Tell us more, and I'm going to ask Sean some questions while you get us that information. So, Sean, with the holidays coming up, what do you do for, like, Thursday's Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
And I'm already, like, begrudgingly going to my families, even though I love them with all my heart. How do you keep yourself in a good mindset, knowing they're having their own energies they're going to be giving out? They have their own issues they're going to be portraying. How does Sean be able to keep himself balanced in those anxious situations through family?
My situation is unique. I survived death in there, on numerous occasions. And when you face death and you survive it, you give yourself this great gift that it does require some refinement. You have to, reflect upon it and sort of build it. But when you have experiences where you survive death, like everything in life just looks amazing. So, I'm going over to my family's for Thanksgiving. It's going to be very simple. It's me, my mom, my dad, and my aunt, as far as I know. There might be one or two other people, but it's definitely not a big Thanksgiving. And I'm just grateful to be there, even though, and here's a great example. Like I'm a high raw vegan. So 80% of my diet is raw. I do a lot of juicing. I do a lot of smoothies. My mom's buying me, like a vegan meal from Whole Foods. I'm not all that enthusiastic about it, but I'm just happy to be there eating a vegan meal from Whole Foods as opposed to being locked up. I was a vegan in there, and I got beans and rice literally every day, 3 times a day for years on end. And so, having survived some near-death experiences in there, just the gratitude, that one can develop from that. And it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, certainly you can leave that situation, having been through, brushes with death and be bitter and angry over it. But you can also just look at it and say, I survived that. And that's sort of the beginning of turning those experiences into gratitude. And so now, I just have gratitude with me wherever I go, especially, the little things in life, the things that, if you've never had, extreme experiences like me, you might be a little thrown off by, maybe, for example, like, I have reason of, I could be upset with my parents for, buying me the Whole Foods vegan meal as opposed to, juicing me some, a fresh green juice or whatever. I'm not going to do that because I survived death. And so to eat a vegan Whole Foods meal that is not my ideal choice is like the most amazing Thanksgiving that I could ever have. And so, it's difficult. Not everyone has those unique experiences like me. But if you can find something in your life that, gives you a reason to be grateful for, focus on that. Maybe you didn't have a near brush with death, but maybe you lost your job and you found a new one, for example. And so now you're financially capable to take some time off for the holidays, to not have to worry about, paying the bills, and just meet with your family and maybe meet with a strange uncle or whatever, but you have a job. You know what I'm saying? So if you can find that something to focus on, to be grateful for, I think that'll actually help get you through, times that may be a little unpleasant or maybe a little awkward or a little anxious, because they too shall pass. If that uncle or whatever is making you a little anxious, it's just that night. If that's the worst thing that happens to you today, trust me, it's not a bad day.
I want to ask you, are you going to write a book about your experience? And what is your mission for the next year going through this? What is your mission, and what can we do to help people that need our help?
Okay, so so my personal story is on Mad in America, which, by the way, is an excellent resource for information about the current state of the field of mental health. These guys are really at the forefront of where the science, what the science shows. So you'll find plenty of good articles there. But I have a personal story on there, and they're turning that personal story actually into a series. So starting the first weekend in December, I'm going to be releasing, I think, 2 essays each month on actual accounts of daily life, in these forensic facilities. So that's going to be really interesting. I encourage you all, to check it out. It's going to be pretty powerful. I can tell you that. When you start reading about what I actually went through, like I said, I've had brushes with death. And so you're going to be able to read about that, in my series. So. Ultimately, the goal is to take that and turn it into a book. I don't know how long that's going to take. I'm definitely going to be doing this series at least for a few months. I'm hoping that within the year, in terms of my plans for the upcoming year, I'm hoping that, sometime toward the middle or end of 2022, that I'll have, a book in the works, like an actual, contract for a book. So that's what I'm hoping. But we will see. So yeah, I'll definitely share, the link and all that with you guys so that you can post it.
Please do, please, and we'll have to have you on when you have your book.
Yeah.
If you send us a copy, we have a book club and on our Discord that we do stuff with, and would love to be able to have you play on there with us and talk about your book, because you really do, Sean. You have an amazing story, and I'm grateful you're here, because without you going through hell, you wouldn't be able to stand here or sit here and talk with us about this. And the truth is, without people being willing to put themselves out there and say that, look, whether you thought you were a god or not, I've sold weed to people in the past where they smoked it and the light on the wall they thought was God, and nobody thought anything different about it. Like, it was just good weed, okay?
Yeah, right.
Like, the minute you start calling yourself God, people get upset and they think you're insulting, when the truth is, maybe there's a chemical imbalance. Maybe there's something that's not matching up the way you want or your body needs. And to find that is not going to always be in another pill. Like when you fell down as a kid, mom putting a Band-Aid on you to mom kissing the boo-boo gave 2 different responses.
Yeah.
And we need to start kissing our boo-boos that are mental illnesses, not just band-aiding them. And that's
good way to put it.
I just, it hit me right now. Sorry, I saw all these comments come in at once, and I'm like, wait, who the heck is Imposky? It's an imposter. But like,
you want to be famous?
I never mind. So Sean, with the holidays coming up, are you going to be with your family? Oh, you said your mom's doing the vegan meal from Whole Foods.
Yep.
So that's what led me to my question I actually wanted to ask is, when you were in the facility and you're vegan, they didn't help you with your diet in any way? You were there long enough that you would think food, I'm sorry, but I'm going to put this out there because I've been in this situation and you have been for a lot longer, so you understand it. Food plays a huge role in how you're going to feel, how your body's going to respond. So you could be meditating and exercising, but if you're eating shitty KFC every day, like you're not, I'm using them as my example, but you're eating deep fried foods and not eating good things, and your vegan diet has to get thrown off. That's not going to help A, the meds, B, your mental health, C, you want to work out. One brick falls so that the rest follow. They didn't work with you at all? They didn't want to help you get good food? Like, I would think that'd be essential.
Yeah, I faced a lot of resistance to my vegan diet. Like, they wouldn't even give it to me at first. They forced me on a vegetarian, like a strange type of vegetarian diet that was like 90% vegan. See, part of the other issue that I had in there is I'm very active. I'm over 6 foot tall. I'm like between 6 and 6'1". I needed like a very high daily caloric intake, close to 4,000 calories, and they just would not give it to me. So they had me like on Ensures, which is milk-based, and they were giving me other animal products. And so I actually had to fight for years just to get a 100% vegan diet. There was one point where they forced me to eat meat, which is actually kind of traumatic because I'm an ethical vegan. I don't believe in harming animals. And so to be faced with a situation where you have to literally eat not just meat, but like really low quality meat. You know, this isn't like a healthy animal that was out, someone went out and hunted, for example, like maybe, but, this was just like the lowest of the low quality meat that they were forcing me to eat, for a length of time. And so I had to fight for that vegan diet. So, they definitely were not trying to allow me to use nutrition. But that kind of goes back to what I said. In my experience in the Illinois forensic mental health system, they strongly promote an ideology, and they recognize, that there are other ways to heal, and that, being genuinely happy, including, a sort of sense of well-being that comes from one's diet, is actually a way to not need their ideology, and so they would find ways to obstruct me. Like they would limit how much food I could consume, my own personal food that I paid for. They would tell me how much that I could eat. And now keep in mind, I was not eating like just because I was bored or depressed, which I think are in that circumstance, there are valid reasons to eat, but I was eating because I had a very high energy need, like 4,000 calories a day, and they were providing, around 2,000 a day. So I had to find about 2,000 of my own calories a day. So I was consistently having to find very clever ways to get around the rules to just get my own food. And that was on a daily basis. And so not only did they not help me with the diet, they were like actively trying to like use it against me. There was someone probably, staff that were crossing their fingers hoping that I just wouldn't get enough food, for a week or two. And I would like come to them and say, I need you guys, just give me more to eat. I'll do and say whatever, but it never played out like that.
But that's abuse. Isn't that abuse?
Yes. It is clearly abuse.
That's clear abuse. I want to know, listening to your story, it's actually heart-wrenching and everything. Have you ever met someone like a mentor that maybe helped you through the difficult times? Someone that wasn't as bad as the people that you were surrounded with?
Are you talking about like another patient?
Or anybody that had a significant impact on your life during these difficult times?
Yeah, there were definitely, people in there who you could tell just really wanted to help. And I've said this earlier in the interview that, one of the positive aspects of our mental health system is it's filled with people who genuinely want to help. They're just misled by, an ideology that's not adequately backed up by science. And so I found plenty of people in there, these are good-hearted people who, were compassionate to my situation. Like I said, I had to figure out ways to eat 2,000 of my own calories a day. So for some people, that's like an entire day's worth of food. And I was allowed, essentially, let's say, like, we went to 2 snack times a day, and I could get 2 protein bars a day, according to the rules. So that might be like 1,000 calories. Might be. Okay, so I have to, like, basically sneak another 1,000 calories, into my diet illegally. And so there were plenty of staff who were looking the other way because they knew my situation. It wasn't as if they were just being lax with the rules or anything. It was just like they knew that I needed that food to live. And so it was like they just could not bring themselves to enforce that rule on me. And that's just one example. So, yeah, there were definitely plenty of people in there. Patients, too. Patients who, didn't need to be there. Patients who were in a sort of similar situation like me. Like, like you would see them, you would interact with them in there, and you would question, like, why are they even there? What is wrong with them that they're in an inpatient psychiatric facility? And so we might band together and try and improve conditions in there, maybe write petitions or, file pro se lawsuits or, do other sorts of advocacy on behalf, not just of ourselves, but on behalf of patients who didn't have the capacity to be able to do these things. Because there are definitely some people in there who really do need a lot of help. But those human rights abuses were still being applied to them too. And so when I and other so-called high-functioning patients, as the jargon goes, as we would band together in there, we would protect not just ourselves, but also these sort of lower-functioning patients, the patients that clearly had issues. We would sort of try and protect them.
Honestly, that's very well said, because the mental health institution in the United States, in my mindset, the way I've seen it, it really doesn't, it's not about getting you healthy to get you out. It's about just getting you out, in a sense. I went in, when I checked myself in, all I said was, I'm considering killing myself. I'm thinking of ways to do it. My wife had an affair and I'm really struggling. And their response was to put me in an $8,000 ambulance ride that didn't even go a block, like for real. And from there, I'm going. I was checked in, and I was only supposed to be in for 72 hours. 10 days later, I'm still in there, and they had me on so many pills that I couldn't even keep myself motivated. And it's one of those things where I look at this and I say, there needs to be a better way. We need to be looking at other things. Like, how many vets check themselves in and then don't want to again later because they don't want to just be drugged, compared to how many people are living on the street and realize, if I commit a crime as simple as robbing a bank and never even stealing $1, I can go to jail and be able to get all my stuff taken care of. This is where we're our society is broken. And I look at us and say, we need to be better. And the only way we get better is taking situations. Sean, I'm using you as my example because you've been so vulnerable, so raw. I fucking love you because I know what that's like to be raw, and then have it be like, okay, I don't care if people judge me. I need to know that I'm making a difference in this world. And that's what you're doing. It's for you. And that's what this is about on this show. And I love that you came into the cafe today, this digital cafe we built just to be able to have these conversations. So Sean, definitely. The holidays are coming up, brother. What are you grateful for? What are you thankful for? What is going to be your motivation through the week to keep you going in a positive direction?
Well, obviously being out, but one of the things that I'm grateful for, it's a simple little pleasure, but I can go to sleep and wake up whenever I want. When I was in there, I woke up at 4:30 in the morning every day. And the weekends I might sleep until 5. And that's because I had to just be on point. I had to protect myself from other patients, from staff. I had to make real progress toward getting out. against a system that really didn't want me to get out. And so I had to, start my day off on the right foot. And that, when you do that for years on end, without exception, that can sort of take its toll on, your ability to remain productive and focused. And so I'm just sort of enjoying the holidays, and I can wake up at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning if I want. I can go to sleep at 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning if I want. And it's entirely up to me. And it's something that many people, take for granted out in the world, that I couldn't do when I was in there. They would also wake you up early too. You might have to get up at 7 o'clock to be forced out of your room, for example, or they might, get you out to go to the dining room at 7:30 or something. So you always had to wake up relatively early. So I just sort of went with that flow and would wake up super early, like 4 or 4:30 in the morning. So I really enjoy not having to do that anymore, because it puts the day, it gives me power over my day. And, with that autonomy, I'm able to, have a fulfilling day, to accomplish the things that I need to accomplish, both internally, let's say in my meditation and yoga practice, and also externally, in terms of school and work, and other responsibilities that I have to take care of.
Isn't sleeping good for your mental health? Why will they wake you up the whole time to just do whatever they want? Just makes no sense. If there's someone that finds themselves in the position that you found yourself in, what tips do you have for someone like that? What do they need to do to get out of it?
Wow, that is a very difficult question to answer, and here's why. Because and I even hesitated to do that, to give specific advice when I was in there. In the forensic mental health system, there are no rules to how you can get out. You just basically have to convince the powers that be to let you out. The most common way to do that is just to go along with what they're saying, to take the pills and to say, you have a chemical imbalance, and to get out. I hesitate to tell people not to do that, because I can't make that decision for them. I just, if they make that choice, just know that it's not supported by science. Like, you don't have any known biochemical imbalance. Those pills are not going to fix that imaginary biochemical imbalance. It might get you out, and so I can't tell you, like, if they're telling you, that you'll get out in 6 months or whatever, if you do that, if you have good reason to believe them, I can't tell you otherwise. But at the same time, it might not lead you where you want to go long term. I just knew that I had to connect with something more meaningful inside. I honestly believe that everyone going through a mental health crisis, somewhere deep inside of them, there's the answer. And when I say the answer, that's, there is the answer to how they're going to find healing. And I think it can differ for everyone. And I think the community should be there to sort of assist the individual to find that answer. And so the advice that I would give to anyone in that situation is to start looking for that answer. And you will probably find patients and staff in your environment that can sort of assist you along that journey in various ways. Maybe like in my situation, I was surrounded by plenty of laid back staff who would let me take as many protein bars as I wanted to meet my daily nutritional needs. That was actually pretty important. So even though they didn't solve all my problems for me, they were allowing me to feed myself properly. And that was putting me in a position mentally to be able to find that answer within. So I guess my general advice is that answer isn't anywhere outside of you, it's within you. And so the sooner you realize that and start looking for it, the sooner you're going to find it. So you can find help in the outside, but ultimately that final answer is within you.
What has been the most difficult part for you, Sean? Meaning, like, you're trying to make sure you give yourself the best benefit of the doubt. You're trying to wake up every day and put good out there. But there's days you wake up, and I promise, I guarantee I know this, you wake up and you're like, fuck the world. I don't want to talk to anybody today. I just want to be alone. How do you keep, I mean this in the most positive of ways. How do you tell your body sometimes, okay, this is a day I just need to sleep. This is a day I just need to this. How do you know when to listen to it and when to say, keep fucking going?
Well, over the 17 years of detention, I just developed a very unique relationship with my body. As a personal trainer, I even tell people today, my number one rule is listen to your body. And so that takes time. And so I would encourage anyone listening, or even if you know anybody who is going through or might go through mental health issues, start developing a relationship with your body. Know what it needs, because it will tell you. If you need sleep, it will tell you. If you need food, it will tell you. But you need to learn how to listen to it, because your mind will play tricks on you. And I think that's kind of the essence of so-called mental illness, is your mind plays tricks on you. And so you have to know yourself at a level deeper than whatever thoughts are running through your mind. So you could say, like I said, I was the Messiah. That wasn't where it was at. My healing was levels deeper than that. And so I had to keep listening deeper than those thoughts running through my head. And if you learn to do that over time, you're going to find yourself in a position where it's a lot easier to get in touch with your body and know what it needs. And so, one of the things to do, I recommend to people, is exercise. That is an amazing way to start connecting with your body. Like I said, I'm a personal trainer, so it's something that I promote anyway. But, people look at exercise and they might only see the physical aspect of it. It goes much deeper than that. There's a mind-body component to it. And you kind of see that in, the development of yoga in India several thousand years ago. There's this mind-body component to exercise, and you can actually get more in tune with your mind through physical activity. And so I would say, that's a good place to start, because it always has health benefits. It's hard to find anybody who's going to, say that you shouldn't exercise unless you have like some super unique circumstances. Get out there, find exercise that works for you, whether it's cardio or weightlifting or whatever, and use that as an opportunity, not just to work toward a goal of having a certain body weight or whatever, or body image, but use it to connect with your own mind. Be a little meditative in the gym if you need to, and really start to use that time to understand you.
I just want to thank you for sharing your story with us in the first place, and just being raw and open about your past and how you grew up and everything. I think you've helped a lot of our viewers, and we just want to say thank you. And then I just want to read Stuart's comment here. And it says, I come here every day. It benefits me more than any medication ever did. And Stuart, we appreciate you guys for coming here and just taking the messages that we're trying to give to you guys. So how we end the show is everybody gets a little 2 seconds or 5 minutes or how long ever you need to take to inspire our viewers, and just send them in the right direction on a Monday and for the week. So I'll go first, and then Brandon will go after me, and then you can close off the show with one of your favorite quotes or anything that you want to share with our viewers.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me.
Guys, today was I think a lesson to us all that sometimes we do not know what cards are dealt to us, but it's what you make from what life dishes to you, and the way that you take the lessons and apply it in your life. Today's card, it's always just on point. It says, know that tomorrow is today. And it says, when you visualize your future as your present, you will reduce your proclivity to procrastinate. What is the value in waiting? Do it now, because today is tomorrow and tomorrow is today. Just go out and be yourself, be authentically yourself. Stand up for the little guy, but stand up for yourself as well. You do not deserve to be mistreated by anybody. You have human rights for a reason. Stand up and stand up for yourself and the little guy. Have an amazing Monday, guys.
Awesomely said. Well said. So, guys, I'm going to go towards the holiday. It's Thanksgiving week, whether you're in Canada, you're in Mexico, you're in the UK, you're in South Africa. It does not matter. And you don't need a day to tell you to be thankful. Today, take 2 minutes. That's it. 2 minutes. to just completely get away from your phone, get away from your friends, get away from the social media likes and all that bullshit, and look at what you're doing for you. Because if you don't take that moment for yourself, don't ever expect anybody else to look inside and see the amazing person that you are. Because without you loving you first, the rest of life can end up just being bullshit. Take today to love yourself, love what you're doing, and change your world. Because I'll tell you what, Sean did that, and look at the amazing story he's built and the amazing foundation he's got. Guys, we're changing the world one person at a time, one share at a time, one like at a time, and keep bringing people to the Light Cafe.
Amen.
Thank you guys for being here.
Okay, so yes, excellent, well said. So I would like to leave the audience with this thought. So, you know, in the United States, this is the week of Thanksgiving, and it's probably my favorite holiday in this country, because I've noticed in our country, we tend to be very disconnected from deeper significance during the holidays, especially for like Christmas, you know, and other holidays. We're kind of at the superficial level, but if you look at human history, you know, holidays and rituals surrounding holidays, you know, served as a vehicle to connect people to a deeper part of themselves. And so Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday in the U.S. because I think of all the holidays that we have, it's the one that really connects with a deep part of human existence, and that's gratitude. You could be grateful for anything. And so I would say, you know, this holiday, you know, this week, find something to be grateful for. You know, if you're in the U.S. or you're anywhere, find something to be grateful for, because you can always find something, and it changes your perspective. And it just, you know, it makes things a little bit more positive. For me, after my experience having survived it, I have an abundance of things. I will always have things to be grateful for. But I know everyone has something, so find that something.
Sean, you are welcome back anytime, my friend.
Thank you.
You thank you for being our spark to start the week. What a way to start Mental Health Monday. What a way to start Thankful Week. Sean, please come back anytime. You're more than welcome. When that book comes out, I'm looking forward to reading your book, brother. So guys, don't forget, give this one a like, a comment, a share. And if you know this message can hit somebody and they need to hear it, send it to them. All right? Guys, thank you, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great day. Sean, if you want to stick around in the back for a minute, you're more than welcome to, but if you got to go, we love you. So.